Tell us about yourself and your history with the military and what branch and your name.
My name is Chip Drews, and I was in the Ohio National Guard 216th Engineering Group from 1966 to 1972. And we built bridges for tanks to cross and heavy equipment. We also, in 1966, got changed from NG to U.S. Army like they do today, and we were trained for Vietnam. Our battalion never went to Vietnam, but we did get trained. And we also, back in that day, years rather, we got involved in the riots, especially the Kent episode up in Cleveland area, and we were sent up to Cincinnati and up to Detroit, Michigan, because it was on fire because of the riots that were back in the 66, 67 year.
How do you cope with your challenges?
Well, I'm a person of long-term sobriety, and I'm going to have 30 years sober this September. And I sponsor a lot of people, and I'm a very spiritual person because of the 12 steps. So the 11th step says you should pray and meditate to improve your conscious contact with God. And I probably think of God 99% of the time.
What's your most memorable moment?
I think it's when my first wife, she died sober. We adopted a little girl when she was 5 weeks old. And I was at work, thank goodness, because I traveled for a living. And they told me I could come and get my wife and pick up a little girl that my wife and I waited 4.5 years to adopt. It was quite a day.
Oh. What's your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby today, and it has been for over 25 years, I make movies. They actually call it Chip Broadcasting Service, CBS. But I love making movies instead of taking pictures because you can go back and show people, especially the grandkids. I have 8 grandkids, and it's a thrill for them to see how they used to be when they were little. I've got each grandchild learning how to crawl, learning how to walk. So that's my hobby. I enjoy it very much.
What advice would you give another veteran that is lonely or in crisis?
Well, number one, if you're not into the VA system at all, the VA has changed dramatically. It's just beautiful over at the VA, and they can help you if you got a mental health issue or substance abuse, and don't be afraid to go over and see the VA system.
Thank you. Where is your support network?
Well, my real support network is with AA. I sponsor about 12 guys. I know my sponsor, I know my grand sponsor, and I get a lot of support from the people that I sponsor and from my sponsor. So,
Thank you. Any recommendations for other veterans?
yes, I'm going to tell you a story on how I got into the VA system. I was going over to the Joseph House a lot over in Cincinnati. It's a shelter for homeless veterans, about 120 beds. And 2 of the guys that I was sponsoring asked me if I would write to St. Louis and get my records. And I recommend this to every veteran. If you can write St. Louis, get your records. And this is what happened to me. I proved to the VA system that when I went to Fort Knox in 1966, my hearing was 100%. By the time I got done with training at Camp A.B. Hill, Virginia, I was 99% deaf in my right ear because I shot left-handed. And I get 20% disability from the VA because of that. But you can write to St. Louis, get your records, and I think the biggest thing today is veterans proving that they lost their hearing in the VA, and you get 20% disability.
Thank you. Any other thing you would like to add for yourself?
Yes, I would like to give some phone numbers. Um, the VA hospital, uh, the phone number is 513-475-6499. Now, the VA system hospital can help you get your DD 214, probably 99% of the time. Also, I'd like to give you a phone number for the VA. Any questions that you might have. I've been helping veterans now for over 25 years, And the VA, to answer any question you might have, is 1-800-827-1000. And they will answer any question that you might have. I also like to talk a few minutes about suicide. I've taken many classes on suicide, and they claim that it's better if the person texts instead of a phone call. And the number is for texting is 741-741. I've taken 2 classes on this, and they claim a person who is having problems with suicide opens up better texting than they do talking on the phone. Also, I like to talk a little bit about the VA and helping people find housing or even sober living. The address is the VA over at 909 Vine Street. And you need to call the VA hospital, and they will get you an appointment to talk to the housing department at 909 Vine Street. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about, even though you had a dishonorable discharge, on a one-on-one basis, you might be able to get back into the VA system. An example, if you got dishonorable discharge for alcohol or drug abuse and you go over to the VA hospital, on a one-on-one basis, they might take you in, even though you had a dishonorable discharge. Another thing I like to talk about too, talking about the hospital, probably 95% of the doctors, surgeons, nurses, all come from the University of Cincinnati. And the VA system has changed drastically over the last 20 years. And if you're a veteran and you've been petrified of the VA system, the hospital, please give it another try. Thank you.
If you need support now, 988 offers 24-hour judgment-free support for mental health, substance use, and more. Text, call, or chat 988.